Is it possible to find tropical paradise in the north of Kazakhstan? Can a palm tree be older than the city in which it grows? How ordinary canned food and unusual plants are related? All this in the new episode of Welcome to Kazakhstan project. Botanical gardens or greenhouses have always been a sign of high cultural status of the city, sign of residents' love for nature. But not all localities have them. Petropavl is lucky with the botanical garden. There is one, and it is a good one. Today we will visit there. My name is Zakirjan Mamlutov. This is Welcome to Kazakhstan project. Let's broaden our horizons. The Botanical Garden of Petropavl is over 100 years old. To find out more about it, we will have to go all the way to 1912. And this date, oddly enough, is connected with the foundation of the largest enterprise on the territory of which the greenhouse is now located, namely a meat processing plant. It was still 2 years before the start of the First World War, but the supply of food to the army was already an important expenditure item in the military budget of the Russian Empire. And on March 1st, 1912, Nikolai II gave the order to build the second Siberian cannery in Petropavl. But what kind of stew is without a bay leaf? This is how a small greenhouse appeared on the territory of the plant. You are to create an economic part of the cannery for growing spices, laurel, the leaves of which are delivered from India and Greece. Grow onions in deep Russian greenhouses. For this, find civilian people who know a lot about plant matters. Create a garden, a vegetable garden, a greenhouse, a school, a hospital, a laundry. This was the order received by the military engineer Colonel Ilham Kurapov. Thus, the first seedlings appeared in the future botanical garden, 12 noble laurels. Why 12? It's just that in the Orthodox culture, this plant is associated with the apostles. Therefore, the seedlings were brought in according to their number.
Лист, 12 деревьев, дюжина деревьев была передана из ботанического сада города.
So, bay leaf, a dozen trees were transferred from the city of St. Petersburg in 1912. These trees are still preserved. We form some of them as a bush, and one tree was left in an adult state for credibility. Now it has reached a height of about 10 meters. Years passed, the place of the Russian Empire was taken by the USSR, and the plants also changed. A small greenhouse has turned into a real blooming garden. The famous gardener and artist Vasily Osipov played an important role in the development of the greenhouse. An unsurpassed master of the tapestry art, he turned trees into real sculptures, forming their crown. And today this art is not forgotten, as can be seen when visiting the botanical garden. There are so many plant species that they are divided into natural zones. There is a Mexican slide and the Australian highlands in the garden. It is difficult to confuse the Indian forest and the Mediterranean corner, but the desert corner of Colonel Kurapov is especially valuable. After all, in this way, honor was given to the founder of the botanical garden, Ilham, or as he was called in baptism, Nikolai Kurapov. This plant is called Mexican agave. It is in principle all relatives among themselves. These are cacti, aloe, casteria. Such a plant lives in nature for up to 150 years. The leaves of such a plant are called swords, because if you look at them, the leaves have such elongated pointed edges, and on the edges it has very sharp thorns. At the very edge, a sharp thorn is just like a needle. Therefore, if you approach it, let's say to take picture, simply then you need to work with it with gloves on. They are very sharp. The thing is that agave blooms only once, and given that the time allotted to agave exceeds human life, seeing its flowers is a real miracle. So 2 years ago, the agave from Petropavl, which lived 150 years, has blossomed. The whole Kazakhstan spoke about this event, but how many more amazing secrets the botanical garden conceals in itself. Who would have thought that bananas can grow in the most northern city of Kazakhstan, Petropavl? They can. They ripen close to autumn, turn yellow, and only after that they can be eaten. The oldest tree growing here is the date palm. It is estimated to be about 240 years old. Its seedling was brought in 1795 by Imam Hafiz Rezepov, the great-great-great-grandfather of Artur Rezepov. While performing the Hajj to Mecca, he decided to take back the blessed plant with him. At first, the palm tree was in the Qasim's mosque. Then it was guarded by the Imam's family. Now this heirloom has found its shelter within the walls of the botanical garden.
Живет такая пальма в природе. Родина является Южная.
Such a palm tree lives in nature. Its homeland is South Africa. It lives there for up to 1,000 years. The fruits of this palm are very useful, very nutritious. Like other dried fruit, the fruits of this palm are very often transported to other countries. They are transportable for a very long time. They do not deteriorate. Therefore, due to the dry and hot climate, the fruits of this palm are highly valued. But there are other unique memorabilia in the garden. For example, the palm tree of the first president of Kazakhstan, planted by Elbasi Nursultan Abishevich Nazarbayev in 2010. Gifts from Dariga Nazarbayeva, reed and coconut palms are growing nearby. Sometimes significant historical figures contributed to the exposition of the botanical garden without knowing it. For example, Ponderosa or Cuban lemon. It was brought back in the 50s from Cuba. There, a delegation of pioneers met with Fidel Castro's brother, Raul Castro, and as a gift from him, the Petropavl children got Ponderosa saplings. And this is a fig tree, or as it is also called, a sycamine. It is believed that sitting and meditating under such tree, Buddha had attained enlightenment. If you think that visiting the botanical garden once a year is enough, then you are mistaken. After all, different types of plants bloom at different times. That is why it will be possible to see the pink sakura petals only in spring, and you will discover the beauty of some other representatives of the flora in winter only. You can learn about the peculiarities of plants from the excursions that take place here every day. The exposition of the botanical garden, in addition to the greenhouse, includes aviaries with various species of birds, aquariums with exotic fish, a vivarium for breeding animals. There are special enclosures for affected wild animals. At different times, animals that fell into difficult situations were nursed here, from a pelican to a donkey. The botanical garden is always ready to defend nature. In the first enclosure, there is a Central Asian turtle. A squirrel lives on the second floor. European rabbit. Here are the Vietnamese bentanga chickens. Marsh harrier is a representative of our fauna. Basically, wounded animals get here. Wild birds which have damaged wings or if they cannot fly away. The golden eagle is the symbol of Kazakhstan. And of course, the botanical garden is not only a greenhouse building, but also a public space around it. In 2020, during a large-scale reconstruction, the park near the Botanical Garden was transformed and became a place of attraction for many citizens and guests of Petropavl. If earlier the working time was limited to 16 hours, now you can admire the beauty of nature even in the dark. Moreover, the plants have got individual illumination, and visiting the Botanical Garden at night has become a favorite pastime of the townspeople and guests of the region.
Не у всех есть возможность.
Not everyone can visit South America or Australia, Africa or the Mediterranean. But while there are such corners of paradise on the planet like the Petropavl Botanical Garden, everyone can feel like a real traveler and explorer. After all, what can be better than exploring the nature of your home planet?